Before I go to what will be a brief round two, I'm going to insert a question here myself. I want to pick up on those last comments from Dr. Campbell, because I'm concerned with this age factor. The legislation says 18. It can be adjusted to 19 to be coincidental with alcohol. And alcohol taken in excess is very dangerous as well. And I'm sure back in the 1920s and 30s when they talked about lifting that prohibition, they probably said a lot of the same things you're hearing in this debate today. Yet we somehow came to grips with it and the world didn't come to an end. But here you talk about 25. 25. Well, first of all, we consider a person adult at 18 or 19. Are we saying to somebody 23, 24, 25, no, you don't have the right, the government will make that decision for you, as opposed to you being old enough, mature enough to be able to make that decision yourself? Yes, it could be bad for you, particularly taken in excess, but isn't it right that the person who is considered an adult should have the right to make that kind of decision, hopefully fully informed and doing what is best for their own health? Yesterday, the Canadian Medical Association, the Canadian Psychiatric Association said it should be 21. Well, not quite as an infringement upon adulthood as 25 would be, but nevertheless, it is over what is considered to be the legal limit for voting, for just about anything else, making decisions as an adult in this country. And I'm concerned because the cohort between 18 and 25 is the biggest single cohort in the use of cannabis. And so we would be talking about, if we followed that guideline of 21, we'd be talking about exposing people 18, 19, 20, up to 21 to a situation where it is still criminalized. We're trying to cut down on the criminalization of this. Stop sending our young people into prisons, or stop giving them criminal records, ruining their lives because they get caught with some possession of marijuana. And yet, we would continue to expose those people. Not only would we expose them to criminalization, but we're exposing them to the black market still, because that's where they're going to get it. If this is the biggest cohort that uses it, they're going to continue to get it from the black market. I just read the other day, 3 people were killed in Illinois from consuming cannabis that was laced with rat poison. So how does even if you decriminalize it, you still have to get it from the black market, and the black market is producing stuff that is very dangerous to people's health, kills them, can kill them, and we've seen that in the opioid crisis, where this stuff is laced beyond anything that can possibly be considered safe for people. So if you don't allow for the regulation of it, which is what the government is proposing, then you continue to expose them to that danger of contaminants, the danger of THC levels that would be beyond what is reasonable. So I'd like your comment about the age thing a little bit further. I'll start with my friends in Toronto. Who knows? They may contradict me anyway, but I'll start with them anyway and come across the table. But I don't have much more left in my 5 minutes after I pontificated on it. Okay.
Well, so then we'll be quick and say that, no, in fact, we're not going to contradict you here in Toronto. We agree with you. We know that the use is most pronounced amongst young people, and I think it's a question. I don't think there's any question. The scientific evidence suggests that, of course, if you can avoid use when the brain is developing, that's the best course of action. And we know that the brain develops till age 25. But I think what we're talking about is balancing out the risks and actually allowing for a more public health approach rather than an enforcement-driven approach. And I think actually just picking up on your points, Senator, we would wholeheartedly agree with your perspective as you've described in your comments. I won't call it pontificating.
Okay. Mr. Colbert.
I agree with my colleagues.
Oh, okay.
Pass along the time.
Madame Gray.
Agree entirely. You're right entirely. And I'd like to insist on the blind spot would be sending as a message if alcohol and tobacco are perceived as less dangerous than cannabis, which is not the case.
I would just like to agree that alcohol and nicotine have big psychosocial harms and physical effects, but I think that we should just remember that every substance is different and we don't need to compare them.
Okay, thank you very much. My time is up.